Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Helen and today I am doing a birthday book haul. I'm doing the book haul in March even though my birthday is in February because I take part in a birthday book club on Instagram, and because February was already taken, I said I would have March, and so all of my gifts have arrived now, so I thought I would talk you through them. So without further ado, I will show you what I got for my birthday. The first one I got was part of my present off my mum and dad, and I got the Baby Dragon Cafe by A.T. Qureshi. My dad had seen on Waterstones, I think it was, that this series was coming out, and he thought I would really like it. It says, "Welcome to the cutest and most complicated cafe in town. When Saphira opens her cafe for customers with pet baby dragons, she isn't expecting it to be quite so hard to keep the fires burning. But her young dragon patrons keep incinerating the furniture, which means selling coffee isn't covering her costs. The local heartthrob Aidan is a gardener, though his disobedient baby dragon is major distraction from his beloved plants. However, Saphira's cafe gives him an idea. He'll ask Saphira to train his dragon and pay her enough to keep the cafe afloat. They know they're the answer to each other's problems, but happy-go-lucky Saphira and gorgeous but grumpy Aidan couldn't be more different. Can they find a way to work together and maybe even ignite some fire of their own?" I think this is going to be a series of 5, but I am really excited to read this one. It's had mixed reviews because I think it's listed as like a romantic fantasy, but people are saying it's more heavy on the romance. I'm not a massive fantasy reader, so I actually think this one might suit me down to the ground. Then my cousin Claire got me a voucher for my birthday, and so I used that voucher at Waterstones, and I got the fifth and final book in the series for the Elle Kennedy off-campus series. This one's called The Legacy. I can't tell you too much about it other than it's a hockey romance because I wouldn't want to spoil anything, but I read the first one and I wasn't sure that sports romance was really my thing, but I really ate that first one up, and so I've managed to get 2, 3 and 4 from my local library, so I'm going to read those, and then I've now got my own copy of the final book in the series. And then there was some books on offer while I was there. So there was Denise Van Outen, A Bit of Me, which was for £3, and it says From Basildon to Broadway and Back. I've always liked Denise. I've followed her career by accident, really, by seeing her on a lot of things from The Big Breakfast, and then I'm pretty sure she was a judge on the programme where they tried to find Joseph with Andrew Lloyd Webber, and then she ended up marrying Lee Mead, who was one of the contestants on that, so I'm really intrigued by this. And so it's just a bit of a thing about her career and her life, so I think that'll be quite interesting. And then for £3 I got Mel Giedroyc, The Best Things. I love Mel Giedroyc, and so I'm really excited to read a fiction book by her. It says this is a debut novel, so it's Sally Parker is struggling to find the hero inside herself. All she wants to do is lie down. Her husband Frank has lost his business, their home and their savings in one fell swoop. Their bank cards are being declined, the children have gone feral, and now the bailiffs are at the door. What does an ordinary woman do when the bottom falls out? Sally Parker is about to surprise everybody, most of all herself. So I just thought that sounded really good. And then for the birthday book club on Instagram, like I said, there is 10 of us taking part, so I got gifts from 9 different people, and so I'll just show you the books that I got. I did get sweet treats as well. I also got some Pucker tea bags that I really enjoy to use, and I also got a voucher, like I said, so I'll show you the book that I bought with that. So yeah, I got a birthday book voucher, and with that I decided to get some sweet treats. I got some Lindt chocolates, and then I got The Year of Fur by Jasper Fforde. This will be the 3rd time that I'm reading this series, and the 8th book and final book in the series is supposed to come out in November, but I've heard from the author himself that it might be early next year. But I am going to do a read along of this series. This is about a character called Thursday Next, who is like a detective in the literary world, and so it's kind of a bit like fun sci-fi esque book. But yeah, she's in this one, Jane Eyre has gone missing and she's got to try and find her and sort it out so the end of the book doesn't get ruined forever. So yeah, keep an eye out for my announcement of the read along. The first book, this one, will be read in April, and then I will be working them out until November, but if we have to wait a little bit longer to buy that last book, so be it. So then I got one that I'm going to be reading for Eurovisionathon, called Not Cool Europe by Train in a Heatwave. It said, inspired by the budget interrail trips of his youth, veteran travel writer Jules Brown thought he'd try and visit 9 cities in 9 countries in 9 days. Sadly, that wasn't his only mistake. It soon turned into a hot and steamy adventure, no steady on, not that kind, by a rail across Europe, taking in Berlin, Prague, Vienna, Bratislava, Zagreb, Liechtenstein, Zurich and Milan. A tale of relaxing train rides to famous tourist destinations and guidebook sites, not so much. All aboard for an offbeat travel adventure with a very funny writer seriously in danger of losing his cool. And I love the cover of that as well. I also got a Christmassy one, which is, these were all on my wish list, so it's all books that I wanted, which is fantastic. A Match Made at Christmas, a Nantucket love story by Courtney Walsh. It says, Hayes Maguire never believed the stories about a famous Nantucket matchmaker until she roped him into taking over her duties while she's off island for Christmas. So he enlists the help of the one person he can trust with this crazy scheme, his best friend Prudence. Armed with a series of rules, a book of success stories and the promise of Christmas magic, the pair of old friends set out to make a Christmas match. Little do they know that magic doesn't discriminate, and they soon find their years of friendship deepening into something more. Will Prue and Hayes ignore the electricity in the air between them, or will there be more than one match made at Christmas? Which leads on nicely to another matchmaking book I mentioned a while back on YouTube. Well, specifically on, what's her channel? Leandra the Book Zero was looking for recommendations around some topics that she liked, and then she also said she would recommend some to people, and I said I liked ones like about matchmaking because I'd recently read one about a marriage bureau in the 1940s, 1920s, I can't remember, but I really loved it, and so I loved books about matchmaking, so she'd recommended some, and one of those was Mr. Perfect on Paper by Jean Meltzer. It says, the perfect Jewish husband should be a doctor or a lawyer, preferably a doctor, baggage free, no previous marriages, no children, and of course he must be Jewish. As the creator and CEO of the popular Jewish dating app JMate, matchmaker Dara Rabinowitz knows the formula for lasting love, at least for everyone else. When it comes to her own love life, she's being idling indefinitely. Until her beloved Bubba shares Dara's checklist with a perfect Jewish husband on national television, and charming news anchor Chris Steadfast proposes they turn Dara's search into must-see TV. As a non-Jewish single dad, Chris doesn't check any of Dara's boxes, but her hunt for Mr. Perfect is the ratings boost his show desperately needs. If only Chris could ignore his own pesky attraction to Dara, a task much easier said than done when Dara starts questioning if Perfect on Paper can compete with how hard she's falling for Chris. So I thought that sounded really good. Then there are 2 as part of a series that I've been reading up till now. I've only read the first 2. I read Binding 13 and Keeping 13 and absolutely loved them. They're by Chloe Walsh. And then the next 2 move on to a different set of characters. So we've got Saving 6 and Redeeming 6. These are based on Joey, who is brother of... Why can't I remember the character names? It's been a while since I've read the 2. Anyway, the girl in the first books, her brother is called Joey, and it's focusing on him and his relationship with a girl called Aoife. Don't want to say anything, don't want to spoil it, but I'm excited to have these 2 to carry on the series. The first 2 books, it was so hard hitting surrounding that family. Shannon is the name of the girl. It was so hard hitting as part of that family, and I know it's going to cover it in these as well when they're talking about the brother. And so I'm glad I've took a pause, but I'm really going to have to feel in a good place to carry on with this series. I've also got Taming 7 that I managed to get for 99p on Kindle, so that's waiting for me as well. I'm a big fan of Taylor Jenkins Reid. I loved The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Not so much, well, I did like it, but not so much the one about the band. I can't remember the one about the rock band. I can't remember what it's called. Daisy Jones and the Six. I haven't seen the TV series yet either. But then really loved Malibu Rising, and so I really wanted to give this one a go. I think Carrie Soto appears in that book, but it says Carrie Soto is back, and I think she's a tennis star. Carrie Soto is fierce, and her determination to win at any cost has not made her popular, but by the time she retires from tennis, she's the best player the world has ever seen. She's shattered every record and claimed 20 slam titles, and if you ask Carrie, she's entitled to every one. She sacrificed nearly everything to become the best. With her father as her coach, Javier, a former champion himself, has trained her since the age of 2. But 6 years after her retirement, Carrie finds herself sitting in the stands of the 1994 US Open, watching her record being taken from her by a brutal, stunning British player named Nikki Chan. At 37 years old, Carrie makes the monumental decision to come out of retirement and be coached by her father for one last year in an attempt to reclaim her record. Even if the sports media says they never liked the battle axe anyway, even if her body doesn't move as fast as it did, and even if it means swallowing her pride to train with a man she wants to almost open her heart to, Bow Huntley. Like her, he has something to prove before he gives up the game forever. In spite of it all, Carrie saw to his back for one epic final season. In this riveting and unforgettable novel, Taylor Jenkins Reid tells her most vulnerable, emotional story yet. So I'm excited for that, and that cover is absolutely beautiful. Then I've got one that's a non-fiction called Disability Visibility, First Person Stories from the 21st Century, edited by Alice Wong. I've always wanted to read more books about disability, and I recently saw a para-Olympian, Dame, oh gosh, what's her name? Oh gosh, I forgot her name. Tabby. I'll put her name up here. But I recently saw her speaking about being a wheelchair user on the train system. I don't know if it was specifically, I don't think it was London Underground, it was just the train system in general in this country. And there is times where she is meant, I think if you are a wheelchair user, there's a way of getting in touch with the train company and letting them know that, so that there is support for you to be able to get on and off the train. And I think on this occasion she'd got onto the train but then was stuck on that train and couldn't get off because the assistance or the support was not there. And then when I got into this discussion on Twitter and saw other disabled train users going on to describing their experiences, I thought, this is horrendous. And at this one time, it's annoying me that I can't remember her name, but she'd had to crawl off the train to get herself off, and I thought, how humiliated must she have felt, and how much she felt like she'd lost her dignity in that situation. And I just think it was so eye-opening that I thought I really want to read more about this. And so yeah, this is my first go at not the only book I've read with disabled representation, but probably Own Voices. This is the first time that I will have properly dug into this and explored it. So it says 1 in 5 people in the United States live with a disability. Some are visible, others less apparent, but all are underrepresented in media and popular culture. Now, just in time for the 30th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act, activist Alice Wong brings together this urgent, galvanising collection of contemporary essays by disabled people. From Harriet McBride Johnson's account of her debate with Peter Singer over her own personhood, to original pieces by authors such as Kia Brown and Haben Girma, from blog posts, manifestos and eulogies to congregational testimonies and beyond, this anthology gives a glimpse into the rich complexity of the disabled experience, highlighting the passions, talents and everyday lives of this community. It invites readers to question their own understandings. It celebrates and documents disability, culture in the now. It looks to the future and the past with hope and love. So yeah, I'm excited to read this. I think sometimes it just takes things like this for it to open your eyes, and I feel like sometimes we're all a bit kind of caught in our own worlds and don't think outside our own little box. But I have to say, when I became a parent and I was trying to push a pram around and realised how hard it is on like pavements and things, if cars park up on the pavement, stuff like that, and that really clicked into place for me, what that must feel like every day for somebody who's in a wheelchair, trying to go along about your day as normal, going along a path, and then there being a car there and you can't easily get down off a pavement with a curb and go around a car like a pram can. And so more and more as I've got older, it's just really opened my eyes, and I just want to explore it properly and really hear from real people and their stories. So that is my start into really exploring that more. But yeah, if you go on and look on Twitter, you will find lots of cases like that, and I find it really sad. And I think people say in a lot of ways we've come a long way, but actually when you look about it for real people, not really so much, I don't think. So another one that I've gone for is Mistakes Were Made by Meryl Wilsner. I put this on my wish list because excuse me, was it in August last year? I was at a family party, and one of my relatives, Theo, was reading this book, and I just ended up Googling it at the time and thinking it sounded interesting. It says, when college senior Cassie spends her Friday evening at an off-campus bar, she isn't looking for a hookup, it just happens. Buying a drink for a stranger turns into what should be an uncomplicated, amazing one-night stand. But then the next morning rolls around and her best friend drags her along to meet her mum, who turns out to be the hot older woman Cassie just slept with. Oh my goodness. Erin was meant to spend the weekend getting closer to her daughter, not hooking up, but what should have been a one-time fling quickly proves impossible to ignore, and soon Cassie and Erin are sneaking around. Worst of all, they start to realise that they might really have something real. Is being honest about the love between them worth the cost? You'll fall in love while rooting for this sexy, forbidden and adorable love story. So I thought that sounded interesting. And then I've got the second book in the Jasper Fforde series, Lost in a Good Book. I won't say any more about it. I've already described what the Air Affair is about and the whole Thursday Next series, but this is the second in the series, so I'm glad to have both. I'm just disappointed that when I went to see Jasper Fforde earlier on in the month, oh, it's the end of last month now, that I didn't take books along to get signed. But hey ho, it was more about the author experience. So yeah, for my birthday, there are the books that I got. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14 to add to my shelves, but I'm not sad about that. And once this Eurovision shelf has gone down at the end of May, I should be able to get them up quite easily, because my promise to myself is just to have these 3 and none sat on the floor at the side. But let me know if you've read any of these. And yeah, I'm excited about them all, so I will speak soon. Bye. Also quickly bobbing on to say that my friend Yvonne got me this Book Duck kit that I'm really excited to do. It's one where you put it in the middle of your books on the shelf, and it's like a little bookshop. It's called the Cat Grocery, so it's got cats inside it as well. But it's got a little light in it, and you sit it in the middle of your shelves. That's another reason to make sure I get these books down, so that I can have this and it lights up and you can see inside this little like book cat shop area. So I'm excited to do this. Let me know below if you would be interested in me doing some kind of recording of me doing this, because I know sometimes that's what people like to watch, but just let me know. All right, speak soon. Bye.